Orange is the New Black was one of Netflix's first original shows. It went on for 7 seasons and never really got a bad review. I didn't grow up watching this show because when it came out, I was probably like in middle school and it probably wasn't a show I could watch. But when I did watch it in high school, I watched season 1 to season 6 in about a week. Then I watched season 7 the day it came out. The show was that good that I literally threw away my whole plans for the week and watched that show. Hour-long episodes, and finales were about an hour 30.
Get a life. Get one, please. I can buy one for you if you would like. Are you kidding me?
This show was so good in the way it portrayed its characters. From the white characters to the black characters to the Latina characters to the other characters.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
Yes, they called them others. That's what they called them. But this is also the first show where I didn't really care about the main character. Everybody around her was more interesting. Suzanne was more interesting. Dia was more interesting. Tasty was more interesting.
I'm sitting on this bulldozer like in a construction site. So I'm sitting there, barbecue sauce on my titties, and I'm like, what the fuck? Again?
Every single person around her just was more interesting than her. Her main story was so not appealing to me. There are a bunch of different stories that span across this whole season. There are different villains, from the guards to the inmates to just people outside in their normal lives, making their lives harder inside. And the humor in the show is very dark and dry, and it's made me really like that type of humor.
Plastic toothbrush with a razor blade melted right into it. Yeah, I probably should have showed you that one.
For the longest, I thought humor should have been slapstick, something that there's a laugh track behind it, but this humor made me realize you don't need a laugh track, and this humor is better than a laugh track. This show is one of the shows that made me mature in my media consumption. The biggest hitting stories, there's too many to count. Tasty has an amazing story. Tiffany Doggett has an amazing story. Pusey Washington has an amazing story. All of them have good stories. All of them had good endings. Well, maybe not good in the sense of it ended good for them, but it was good in an aspect of a story. Orange is the New Black really claimed that title of longest running Netflix show, and I don't think they'll ever be beat, because the way that Netflix runs their company, not a lot of shows get to a season 4, let alone a season 7. Plus, Orange is the New Black has hour-long episodes, and then the finales are, sometimes they get up to 1 hour 40 minutes. I have to double check, but they get really long in the finales. How they portray the camp, the prison, is very interesting to me, because when you think of jail or prison, you think of being locked up in cells and not being able to see people at all. But here it's a camp. People get to free roam around the space and do as they please, and they have jobs and they have their own lives inside. It's a great representation of how people can get attached to the things inside there, even though it's not real life. I always thought this show needed a sequel or a spinoff, but I don't think it really does. It's a great show by itself. I've watched this show 3 or 4 times all the way through.
Boy, ain't no fucking way, boy. Boy, ain't no way, boy. Boy, ain't no way, boy.
Again, yes, 7 seasons. And it's just one of those shows that I just keep coming back to, even though I already know the story, because it's just such great characters, good comedy, good drama, and even when I know what's about to happen, it has me on the end of my seat, waiting for what's gonna happen next. If you haven't seen the show, I would highly recommend that you do watch at least the first season, just to get a feel of what it has to offer. Don't watch for Piper. It's not, the main character in the show acts as a entry point for the average viewer, at least in my head. The average viewer is Piper, a person that is so not experienced with prison. They go into the show thinking that it's going to be the way that Piper thinks it's going to be, which is not. It's completely different from her view of what jail was going to be. And she is a somewhat innocent person going into jail. She's a college girl, got a good job, I think. No, she doesn't have a good job. I think she works for herself. I don't know. But she has like well-off parents, and she has good friends. She has a fiance, and then she ends up having to go to jail for something she did in her past with a past girlfriend. And when she gets to jail, you get introduced to all these amazing characters. All of them have their own unique relationships and stories that is far more deeper than Piper's story to me. And that's why I go and watch the show over and over for all the side characters. All the side characters are just better. It's like having the turkey at Thanksgiving. Piper's a turkey, super dry, super unedible.
I don't make mistakes. I'm not just like the rest of you. I'm stronger. I'm smarter. I'm better. I am better.
There's so many things. Like, if you just pop up a character, I can talk about so many things about them. Because in the 7 seasons, they really dive deep into every single character that you see in that first season is going to get their own backstory, their own reason of being there, and all the things that they've done. But I just want to say Orange is the New Black is one of my favorite TV shows ever. And I really would recommend you watch it just to see the feel of the type of show I'm watching. And thanks for watching the video. Really appreciate it.
I made a promise that I would never send that text. I made a promise that if I ever felt distant, I would be honest. Shawty, you by my